and welcome to the Hong Kong Coliseum for quarterfinals day at the Yonex Sunrise Hong Kong Open, the last of the 12 tournaments on the MetLife BWF World Superseries. The Superseries, of course, the elite tier of tournaments throughout the year, 12 tournaments, and this the last of the 12. And of course there is still the Superseries finals to come, and the destination once again is Dubai, and the top 8 players and pairs from the 12 Superseries events from each of the 5 disciplines will qualify for the end-of-year Destination Dubai Super Series finals. Well, it is quarterfinals day today, as I say, and we've got 5 matches for you. We're starting with the 2013 World Champion, Ratchanok Intanon, against Sayaka Sato, the left-handed Japanese player. Then men's singles, and then Kalong trying to become the first home player to reach the men's singles semi-final here in his home event since the start of the Super Series. He's up against the number 5 seed, Chao Tien Chen. After that, we'll have another men's singles, and I can tell you it'll be a repeat of the World Championship final. It is Chen Long, the world champion and 2012 winner here in Hong Kong, up against the former world number 1, Lee Chong Wei, and 3-time former champion of this event. We'll have women's doubles after that as the crowd comes into the Coliseum here, as we look at the Destination Dubai women's singles rankings. I can tell you that all 10 players on that list have been in a Super Series final this year. And let me tell you about the women's doubles coming up later on. It's a repeat of the World Championship final. The European champions Pedersen and Ruta Yul up against the world and Olympic champions and defending champions here, Tiang Qing and Zhao Yunlei. Then men's doubles, and the winners last week of the China Premier Super Series, Kim and Kim of Korea, will take on the world champions and holders of the Hong Kong title, Mohamed Hassan and Hendra Setiawan. So that's what we've got lined up for you this afternoon. Obviously, first match, women's singles, Ratchanok Intanon against Sayaka Sato of Japan. I'm Jill Clark, delighted to say that once again I've got Steve Peterson sitting alongside me, and it is a mouth-watering prospect. Lovely matches for us this evening here in Hong Kong. Well, let's have a quick look at the draw of the women's singles before we come back to Steen. And at the top of the draw, well, I can tell you, Carolina Marin has already got through to the semi-final stage, as indeed has the 2-time winner, Wang Yi-han. So the top half of the draw has been decided. And I have to say, the only remaining match, because in fact 3 have been decided, 3 semi-final places, because in the third quarter there, a repeat of last year's final and a reverse of the result from last year, because the defending champion beaten this year by Okuhara. So Steen, sorry to cut you off like that as we see the players coming into the arena. The former world champion Ratchanok Intanon against the left-hander Sayaka Sato. Sato's been in great form, hasn't she? Winning the recent Korea Grand Prix Gold event.
Yeah, and great to see her back to form. Suffered a very, very bad injury during the Olympics, so it's so nice to see her regaining form, and one of the strong Japanese women's singles players.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, she not only very badly injured her ankle during that Olympic Games, in fact it was against one of your players, wasn't it? Yeah. Tina Bown. But when she was making her comeback, she then injured her knee as well, so poor girl has had to battle and battle to regain fitness. So this left-hander, well, she's 24 years of age. Her opponent, Ratchanok Intanon, the number 7 seed, is 20 years of age. So 2 youngsters, and 2 highly talented youngsters at that. There, the former world champion, well, former world number 2 as well. She's gone down 3 places in the world ranking this week, down to number 8. In the Super Series, she's gone down 2 places to number 8, having lost in the first round of China last week. Well, she had a real battle yesterday against another Japanese player, Minatsu Mitani, dropping the opening game before coming back strongly, 21-9, 21-12. So 3 finals from 15 tournaments for Ratchanok Intanon this year. For Sayaka Sato, down 1 place in the world ranking to number 19. She has been as high as 14, and she's only played 4 Super Series events this year. 3 finals from 14 tournaments, winning that Korean Grand Prix gold. As I say, she reached the final in Osaka International and also the US Grand Prix gold as well. Now, she's come through both of her matches in 2 straight games. In the first round against Rong Schaefer of the United States of America, and then yesterday against the home player Yip Hui Yin at 21-16, 21-11. So this will be the 6th meeting between these 2 players. Today's match, their previous 5 meetings, Ratchanok Intanon has won 4 of them, including the last 2. And the last time they met was in the last 16 of the French Super Series. Ratchanok Intanon winning 21-15, 21-13. But 2 of those 5 previous matches have gone the full distance. Now we have confirmation of that, the head-to-head. Ratchanok on a run of 2 wins against her opponent, and I think she'll take heart from that into today's match.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Sayaka Sato, Japan. And on my left, Ratchanok Intanon, Thailand. Ratchanok Intanon serve, love all, play.
So the former world champion, number 7 seed, Ratchanok Intanon from Thailand, getting this quarter-final underway against the left-handed Sayaka Sato. And I find this an interesting matchup, Steen, because we've got one player who seems to be struggling with her form, Ratchanok Intanon, lost first round last week, against a player who's been playing extremely well, winning the Korean Grand Prix gold event just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it always helps you winning. I mean, there's no better thing than to hear winner of your tournament and then your name. So definitely gives you self-confidence, and I suppose in some ways this girl here must lack a little bit of that self-confidence. Very polite there.
Yes, she does that all the time. Thanks the service judge when she gets a new shuttle.
And not only self-confidence, it also gives you a lot of feel for the court, that you play a lot of matches, and that means that suddenly your shots, they sit a little bit better.
That's lovely. Well, we've talked on numerous occasions, haven't we, Steen, about this young lady's shots, well, capability and range. I mean, she's got a beautiful, easy hitting action.
I think that on a technical note, she and the player from Chinese Taipei, Tai Su-Ying, is, in my opinion, the 2 most technically skilled players in the world of women's singles right now. We saw that 2 years ago when it won her a world championship in China, and we've seen glimpses of it since then. But I still have a feeling that she's been in some ways underperforming. We talked about that with Li Shuirui last week, winning the China Open. It was good to see her return to form, and we've also seen Ratchanok at some tournaments play absolutely magnificent. She won the Indonesia Open Premier Series, and then we see some very strange losses in the early rounds, and that's a pity.
Yeah.
Well played.
And just to emphasize your points, 3 times she's lost in the first round of a Super Series event this year. 3, and for a former world champion, you don't really expect that. Not a youngster that's supposedly on the up.
No, it's and especially with all these technical skills. I mean, they should more or less get her past the first round in every tournament.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this lady, the left-hander, Sayaka Sato. Great courage to come back from all those injury problems, and I actually think she's done a bit of a Tina Baun, because I can remember Tina Baun, your player from Denmark, who became world #1, ruptured her Achilles at the Sudirman Cup of 2005 in Beijing, and then came back a fitter, leaner, meaner athlete, and she was in much better physical shape actually afterwards.
Yeah, sometimes in some ways you are helped mentally by suffering a major injury. I know it might sound strange, but you come to terms with yourself and find out this is actually what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I love, and while I have the chance, I should do everything to become as good as possible.
Yeah.
5-all.
And it's terrible that it takes a serious injury for that realization to happen. I know from personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I've sometimes suggested that the Danish players, while I was coaching, that they should have an internship in a normal company for 1 or 2 months and see how it's like, and then come back and decide whether they want to give it a shot with badminton. Hopefully, that's not necessary anymore. The players we have now are very professional.
It's a beautiful net shot. Wonderful play from Sato.
6-5. Service over. 6-all.
Well, as I thought, close, very close in these early stages. And any real sort of pattern emerging, Steen, from a tactical point of view, or too early to really tell?
A little bit too early. There's been a lot of shots exchanged in the forehand side of both players. Obviously, Sayaka Sato left-handed, so I'm a little curious to see whether there's some kind of side drift in this hole here. I heard from some of the Danish players, women's doubles pair that we're going to see later on today, that they felt that they were both sort of heads and tails wind. Very strange wind conditions in here. We're playing in a part of a half of the Hong Kong Coliseum, and that perhaps makes it a little bit awkward wind conditions.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe it's just tactical that both players feel that it's more safe to play the forehand side. We know that Ratchanok has very, very good shots from her backhand side. Oh, great deception.
Yeah. Oh, it's called out. It was out. I think she might challenge. Yes, she's challenging. First challenge of our evening session.
You're always a little bit worried when Ratchanok challenges, because we've seen her be wrong at quite some occasions. So maybe might have caught the outer part of the line, which is good enough.
So here's no.
Challenge unsuccessful. Service over. 7-8. Ratchanok Intanon, 1 challenge remaining.
And this, I mean,
Play.
she just challenged. You could discuss whether it's a wise thing to challenge so early. I mean, the game is still close and so on. But Ratchanok, she seems to just challenge whenever she feels that she's been done wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good to sort of get it out of your system, and you can go on and say, okay, it was out.
Yeah.
Cost you a challenge though, but yeah.
Service over. 9-8.
It's these shots like these that simply must sit correctly.
Yeah.
Must be accurate. Sometimes it's so the easy shots are so difficult to make when you have all these possibilities, when you have this great talent, because I mean you have so many choices. So in many ways it's about playing a little bit simpler when you have all these choices.
10-9.
To find the right balance in your shot selection.
Service over. 10-all.
Well, this next point is going to decide who has the advantage at the mid-game interval. The former world champion, Ratchanok Intanon. Steen, did you notice at the end of that rally the two shouts of celebration from Ratchanok, sort of copying the style of Carolina Marin?
Also, yes, I noticed also in some of the other rallies that the one that Sato put out on the forehand side, that there was some celebrations there, and yeah, I guess that's probably what we're in for if it goes like in tennis when. We first heard Monica Seles start this shouting actually during the rallies.
Yeah.
Top 1, 20 seconds. Top 1, 20 seconds. Coach, leave the court, please.
So the coaches are asked to leave the court.
She does that as well. We saw that last week in China. That was it Okuhara who was hesitating a little bit, doing a little prayer or something before entering the court.
It's a little bow.
It's a little bow, yeah.
It's a sort of gesture of respect to the court officials, I think. Oh, that's a good clear. That was fabulous from the left-hander. My goodness me.
11-all.
She's playing a little short, Ratchanok. That was better. The first three clears a little bit short.
Service over. 12-11.
When I was discussing the playing conditions with Camilla Rutujula and Christina Pedersen, they also told me that apparently they changed the speed of the shuttles. The first selection was, I think, speed 3, but changed it to speed 2, and they felt a little bit heavy, in their opinion.
So just explain that further. The speed 2 are slower than the speed 1.
The speed 2 are slower. Speed 1 is the slowest that you can get. And when we say slow, we of course mean that when you test it with a lower hand shot from the back line. It doesn't fly as long as the faster shuttles.
Yeah, I like that push into the deep forehand corner.
13-12.
That's
Going
wide.
wide.
Yeah. Good call, Jill.
Yeah. Crikey, I didn't know it was going to be that close.
No, that's why I was thinking maybe there's a little bit of a side drift coming in that direction from right to left, because they're playing a lot of rallies mostly on that side.
Watching Ratchanok today and throughout this year, I can remember after she won the world title, when she first started playing again, I felt she was lacking the urgency and the intensity that she had had when she won the world title. And it sounds odd because, she's obviously got such beautiful shots, but sometimes she needs to couple that, I feel, with a little more aggression or well, intensity. I don't know how else to describe it.
A good question could be: is she sometimes a little bit too polite? Is that why she's tried to take some of the shouting and screaming of Carolina Marin and put that into her game? And I guess it must also be tough, or at least it's perhaps a difference in characters of the players, that when you win the World Championships, what more is there to win? Just wait for the Olympics and try to win that, or do you want to win it again and be dominant throughout your era? I remember a discussion in tennis where they described the difference between Björn Borg and Mats Wilander. Very old players for our viewers, but one had a desire to become the dominating player. The other had a desire to win Wimbledon once. And there's a big difference in what you achieve after you've won Wimbledon.
Yeah.
But then suddenly she pops up and played a beautiful Indonesia Open, where in my opinion she would be the favorite to win the World Championships. It was in the same hall. She had all the skills to win in that hall. But
17-15.
Now, I noticed today she's not wearing her long stockings.
exactly.
She was yesterday.
I actually often think that she is struggling with small injury problems. I watched her in the practice courts under the All England tournament, and she was looking really, really fast on her feet. But she was doing an awful long practice, and that's called in.
Yeah, I think I'd challenge that. Well, it's not going to happen.
Service over. 16-17.
So I think they might be struggling with it, with the amount of practice that she goes through.
Yes, because twice this year she's had to retire part way through a match.
Yeah.
Intanon.
Oh, that's another challenge, probably.
Ratchanok
Yeah.
challenge. 4 out.
Well, normally we have a good old guest, don't we, Steen? But we're sitting up in the gods here, of right in the top of the stadium.
Yeah, I felt I had a good week last week, so I'm not really trying, looking to spoil that. I don't think I'll give an opinion on this one.
It was mighty close, I know that. Here we go. What does Hawkeye say?
in.
That caught the line. Yonex. Good challenge.
And a very important one. Big difference, 17 all compared to 16-18.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great smash.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, you could hear the sound that came off the racket there. Nice crisp sound. Oh, goodness me. Now that's the sort of shot you were talking about earlier, Steen.
Yeah.
Got to make those count.
Yeah, and it's one of those deceiving shots that look easy but really aren't, because you got to be awfully careful. You probably don't have as much angle as you think.
Yeah, she's bumping that forehand corner, isn't she?
You must have seen something on video.
Oh, look at that. Well, that's what happens when it does work, when it does go over.
It's a winner.
What a super. And that's the difference, though, at elite sport, isn't it? One moment we're criticising and saying she's hit the top of the tape, fallen back her side, and the next moment we're saying glorious shot when it goes over.
Exactly. And
19 all. Sensational, what a shot.
And this is exactly what we've been discussing earlier, the efficiency, playing like this most of the rallies and then spicing it all up with these beautiful technical shots that she's capable of. That really is her game.
Disguise, punch clear, deep into the backhand corner, outright winner. And her game point opportunity. Just gone wide. Opening game to Ratchanok Intanon. 21-19 confirms the umpire. 21 minutes for that opening game. And their confirmation of the scoreline. 21-19 in 21 minutes. It's the final rally and the little celebration from Ratchanok Intanon. A good crowd here at the Hong Kong Coliseum.
Many, of course, looking to see Eun Ka-long in the next match. Beat Lin Dan yesterday up against Cho Chin-Chia.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? So the players return to courts, and I think the court attendants are going to be called because it looks as if Sato has pointed out there's rather a lot of perspiration on the court surface. Now here comes the court attendant. There we go. Bit of mopping to be done.
Oh.
Oh no.
Manages herself. Wipes it off with a shoe.
Second game.
Of course, she got a little break, Sato, coming into this tournament, as she
Play.
sort of has benefited from Simon Neval having to withdraw from this tournament.
Yeah.
And I actually, she actually was stopping by Hong Kong, Simon Neval, because I was sitting on the opposite side of the aisle from her on the plane from Fuzhou to Hong Kong, and she was really having a sore Achilles.
She was, of course, the #2 seed here, yeah. Simon Neval, 2010 winner of this tournament. Yeah, and sad that she's had to withdraw.
Yeah, but of course Sato looking to make the most of that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost another player before the start, another seeded player, Wang Sheshian, twice a beaten finalist. #6 seed here. Well, we saw her get injured last week, didn't we, in the semi-final? Yeah. It's quite obvious she couldn't play, really. But she too came here to fill her media duties. Oh, look at that! Oh, it's gone long. That would have been a sensational shot again, had it landed in.
It's over. 2-1.
Oh, that's all.
It's over. 2-all.
Is there anything tactically that this lady should be doing different in this second game, do you think, Steen?
I feel she's playing a little bit up against the wind, and if that indeed is the case, then she might have the opportunity of moving a step closer to the net in order to control the front court, because Ratchanok would have to control the drift. We saw she put one long a couple of rallies ago, but the last two has been on the line, so quite difficult for Sato to believe that she's playing up against the wind. I would still, if I were her, still try to play as efficient as possible and hope that Ratchanok eventually would stop making some of these errors that we've seen her make, but who eventually worked out well in the final rallies of the first game.
Oh, yeah. That was going out, wasn't it?
That definitely is a drift from right to left.
Oh, I don't believe it. Great reactions there from Ratchanok. She smiles
5-2.
because the attempted kill from Sato, look at this.
Yeah.
And then that block lands on the line.
I think this is an area where we're going to see a big improvement in women's singles in the years to come. The ability to kill it from the front court.
Yeah.
We've seen Ratchanok been a little bit loose with the shots from the front court when she's played herself up to a good chance. And we saw Sato not being able to kill this one. I think that Carolina Marin has set a new standard for the front court play that you actually must be able to kill it or make sure that you kills it within 2 or 3 shots. A little bit like Taufik Hidayat in the men's singles, but as an attacking player, you want to finish it off. You don't want to give your opponent too many chances.
Yeah. Well, one sort of feels that Sato's got to be awfully careful here, because you just get the impression that this lady is beginning to stamp her authority on this quarterfinal.
Yeah. I can understand why she left it, because I think it drifted from right to left, but just not enough to go wide. Interesting to see how this develops in terms of what we discussed with Ratchanok being this technical skill player, a little bit playful in her playing style.
Yeah.
I still think Sato has a chance to get back at this, but it probably needs some easy points like this one, for instance.
3-9.
And the question is, does Sato believe that she has a chance to get back in it?
Well, it was 8 straight points. It was a good run by Ratchanok. Oh, my goodness again.
What a fantastic shot.
Yeah.
And this is so typical for the technical skill players. A player with less technical skills would only have the short possibility that Sato was covering there, but Ratchanok able to get it all the way to the back court. And I mean, if you don't watch the TV pictures, just listen. Then you think that it's Carolina Marin who's on the court.
Yeah. But I, on a serious note, I mean, I wonder whether this is something that, you know, of course, after a good rally, when you get to the mid-game interval, I have no problem with a verbal celebration, one verbal celebration, but when it turns into 2 or 3, especially when your opponent makes an error and, you know, a serve into the net, we have heard 3 verbal celebrations after that. You know, I'm not sure that's the way we really want the game to go. I mean, it's become so irritating in the sport of tennis that the governing body has talked about stopping the grunting altogether.
Yeah.
And making it in the rules that you're not allowed to grunt. And
the problem is, in my opinion, tennis has sort of let it carry on for way too long. So, I think it will be difficult for them to change it.
Yeah.
11-3.
Yeah, something we'll have to keep an eye on in badminton. So an 8-point advantage here in the second game.
Now I'm beginning to change my opinion about the possibility for Sato to make a comeback in this match.
Well, I saw her earlier today. We were both eating lunch in the same Japanese restaurant, and she looked very relaxed. Yeah, but things are just slipping away from her now. Yeah, and the whole body language, look at that.
And it's a Japanese player waiting for the winner of these two again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nozomi Okuhara. And what a fantastic competition environment they must have in the Japanese team.
Yeah.
8 out of eight players in top 50 in the world, and a couple of juniors, really strong junior players coming along as well.
Yeah. Thirteen of the last 14 points.
Play.
No, she's overdone it.
Service over. 4-14.
She was like she had a little bit stamped with the foot there, Ratchanok, and I actually like that. Even though she's a bit ahead, she still wants the shots to be of high quality, and that's exactly the way to develop her game to an even higher level, in my opinion.
Oh yes, that's beautiful. What a super shot from Sayaka Sato.
5-14.
Appears to have taken a new racket. Don't think the last one was broken, was it?
Play.
Maybe just the handle sodden with perspiration. Oh.
Yeah.
She's
Well
developing this punch clear thing.
Yeah. She's trying to be a bit more controlling in her rallies, and rightly so.
Yeah, and I suppose that translates into what I was trying to explain and didn't really explain properly earlier, about the lack of urgency and the lack of really dictating the pace and real intensity.
And we see that in many players. We've discussed it a couple of times in men's singles as well with Lee Chung-wei, who is so fast that he has a lot of opportunities. And that sometimes makes him a little bit careless in his shots. But why did he change that around last week in China Open?
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Service over. 7-15.
That's a really good shot for Sato, that cross-drop shot from her long forehand.
It's just long.
Service over. 16-7.
Next doubles. Edgar Butama, Ricky Durandez-Juan, Indonesia, versus Matthias Bo, Preston Morrison, Ben Moore, umpire, Tony Wong, service judge, Simon Allen.
Oh, that's lovely.
Service over.
It's several times she's hit a beautiful slow drop shot, Sato. Great effect. Came back in.
Yeah, that's the safe corner where the drift goes from right to left, and from Ratchanok Intanon's side towards Sayaka Sato. Very hard to make a mistake in that corner. Much better.
Yeah.
Much better when she plays it. Takes the shuttle high and just tries to play the quick shot instead of these a little bit too big deceptions. For deceptions to be efficient, they actually needs to be really, really small.
Key taking it early, lunging forward, racket arm outstretched. There'd been a nice little net exchange earlier on. Forced the short lift there. I was surprised she didn't do more with it.
Yeah.
But look at that net shot. That's beautiful. Giving her opponent no time.
Well played. Oh, what a great shot.
That's incredible.
And when you're playing
19.
men's singles or women's singles, then after you've made a shot, you always try as unconsciously as possible, but sometimes when you practice it is conscious, but in a match unconsciously you try to judge what are the most likely corners, what are the most likely shots your opponent is playing, and when she does something completely different from the most probable shots, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's wayward.
Service over. 10-19.
Oh, that is just delightful. And what a super way to bring up match point opportunities.
Service over. 20. Match point 10.
The disguise on this final shot and the precision was perfect. Match point number 1. It's gone long.
Service over.
And she hasn't used all her challenges this time, Ratchanok.
20.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, has challenged twice, but on one occasion she was correct, so kept the challenge.
That one clearly long though.
Second match point is converted. 21-19, 21-11 in 43 minutes. Yeah, well, the fans love her all over the world, Ratchanok Intanon.
21-19, 21-11.
Umpire confirms the score. This is the final rally. And once again, the simplicity of taking the shuttle early and just guiding it across courts for the outright winner. So 21-19, 21-11, 43 minutes of play. So the first of our quarterfinals completed. We've got 2 men's singles coming up next, and the next match features the home player, Long. He's trying to become the first Hong Kong player to reach the men's singles semi-final since the start of the Super Series. The Super Series started, of course, in 2007. He's up against Chao Tianchen from Chinese Taipei. Well, when we look at the Super Series standings in the men's singles, just 3 changes, and the 5 and 6 swapped places. Lin Dan, after reaching the semi-final in Fuzhou, he went up above Chao Tianchen, who we're about to see. And coming into the top 10 from number 11 was Hu Yun from Hong Kong. So, with 3 Chinese players above him, Hu Yun, certainly from that Super Series standing, would be looking for a Super Series finals place. But of course, he lost first round here, and it depends on how everybody else does in that list as to who qualifies for the Destination Dubai Super Series finals. Incidentally, the winner last week, Lee Chong Wei, went up 11 places to number 22 on the standing, but he's only played 5 of the previous 11 events. So as far as the men's singles is concerned, well, again, we're not quite up to date on that, because I can tell you in the battle of the 2 qualifiers in the 3rd quarter of the draw, Anthony Ginting of Indonesia came through that, and Tian Haowei came through the all-Chinese battle in the bottom section of the draw. So it's just the top section that needs to be completed, and our next match is Long of Hong Kong against Chao Tianchen, the number 5 seed from Chinese Taipei. Yep, well, no doubt who the fans are going to be cheering for. And it would be quite an achievement. It's already an achievement to be in the quarter-final stage, but for Long, if he was to make a semi-final, he would be the first player